Businesses have been held hostage for a long time. Portland Central Eastside business owners vent their frustration after years of crime. Mayor Ted Wheeler of Portland vows to do a 90-day reset so these businesses can recover and rebound from what they're experiencing. What are they experiencing? If you've been following this podcast, you know what the city of Portland is, what their businesses are experiencing, which is, poop on your shoes, poop on the sidewalk, crazy people walking around, people on drugs, stealing from businesses, sometimes all three. Sometimes you got the crazy drug addicts stealing from the businesses. You've got employees having their lives threatened, break-ins, continual break-ins. This is what these businesses are saying. Hey, this has been going on for a long time. What are you going to do? So this was a kind of a big air your grievances session with leadership from City of Portland that a number of these businesses, looked like a couple hundred people. They got together and they're talking with the mayor. Mayor vows, well, we're going to do this reset thing. To me, it just seems like smoke and mirrors. It seems like talk because we just had the Safer Summer PDX, trying to get some traction to making Portland a safer place. But until you square away all the people living on the streets, until you square away the drug addicts who are just continually stealing from the community and reselling, till you get those resellers squared away, till you get the people running around shooting each other squared away. Portland just broke their all-time record high for 1 year of homicide, of murders. They hit 93, I think it was. And before that, it was 92. And that was last year. And before that, it was 1987 when they had 70. So Portland's on this spike. And it's not a good spike. It's especially not a good spike for this coalition of business owners. Let's check it out. Let's see what's going on in Portland. Dozens of business owners from Portland's Central Eastside neighborhood shared their safety concerns. Love that. Well, I had one of my employees, he had his life threatened. I'm going to kill you with the gun. And then it gets translated to safety concerns. That's concerning. That's for sure. They talked about crime, from explosions and trash to drug use and death threats. Things they say are forcing them to consider leaving. One of our employees on his way into our central kitchen, guys going into the central kitchen, he works there. He was held up at gunpoint, said Kim Malek, the co-founder and CEO of Salt and Straw, a gun in his face as he walked in to make ice cream. You hold somebody up that's going to go make ice cream for a living, you're a bad individual. You're a terrible individual. What are you even thinking? These criminals don't give a rat's ass, do they? They do not care who they're going after or what they're going after or who they threaten, because they're just looking to steal from you, get their next fix. That's literally what's going on. And in the city of Portland, we've decriminalized drugs. And so you've got this whole eco culture that feeds into what these businesses are up against. For 2 years, business owners, including Malik, said they've watched as crime, drugs, and camping have festered while efforts to speak out about it have led to more angst. These business owners are pissed. And I talk about this a lot because a lot of people, if you haven't run a business, if you've never started up a business, if you've never been part of a small business, you might think, well, just move, you darn idiots. Okay. You got massive amounts of capital. You might have your life savings in the infrastructure of this business, and you can't necessarily move that. Maybe you've got all kinds of tenant improvements throughout a commercial space. Maybe you've put $100,000 of it, $200,000 of your life savings into that to make this reality happen. So that's why these businesses stick it out until the very bitter end, because moving can cost, the estimate was millions on moving the ice cream manufacturing company, which is Salt and Straw. So one of our employees on his way into our central kitchen was held up at gunpoint. Kim Malek, the co-founder and CEO of Salt and Straw, a gun in his face as he walked in to make ice cream. I mean, in what world does that happen? Well, in Portland, it's happening fairly often. Several of our business owners have received death threats. And so that's something that we take pretty seriously. Yeah, I can imagine. Hey, Sean, somebody threatened to kill me today. I'm like, oh, hey, well now, let's talk about that. Because as an owner of the business, not only is it your job to worry about the $100,000 you've got invested in the business and how you're going to move that business if you're in an environment that is as toxic as Portland is, but you got to worry about your employees. I worry about my real estate brokers going out, showing houses and being in homes, alone with individuals they may not know all that well. There's all kinds of protocol you're supposed to follow on that. But if somebody says, hey, I want to look at this $800,000 house. I know you don't know me, but you were referred to me by, whatever the name is. You're probably going to go and meet this individual, feel them out and see if that's somebody you want to show a house to. But it doesn't always go the way that you think it's going to go. So there's always, in the back of the mind of a business owner, there's always a whole bunch of, oh God, I hope that doesn't go sideways. And in Portland, the reality of something going sideways is obviously, it's extremely high. Briglio, the owner of Salt and Straw is a pretty major ice cream company in Portland, did a full-on podcast on them yesterday. They have shops, they have online store, and they have shops in California, in Northern California. I think it was LA, Orange County, Miami. They've got like 3 shops up here in the Seattle area. It's a decent sized organization, but their headquarters is in Portland. And they literally had a homeless RV van-ish vehicle out on the street, out in front of their headquarters, catch on fire and explode. And it burned out, it blew out a nearby power transformer. So their business was without power in the early morning when dudes are trying to make ice cream. Imagine being in that building. Hey, we just lost power. Somebody week before had been held up at gunpoint. Oh, this isn't going to go well. No power, not good. Briglio helped organize Tuesday's listening session in front of city leaders, including Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler. It's the result of a collective tipping point among many dozens of business owners. Okay, so this is something I wanted to talk about. From what I am reading and from my understanding, from hearing a lot of the input from the business owners in various different interviews, different media, it's kind of getting to that point where businesses are saying, yep, I'm done. We're leaving. They're literally at that tipping point where they kind of go, okay, nope, we're done. We're out of here. And maybe they move to the burbs of Portland. Maybe they move out of the city of Portland. That is literally the considerations that folks are making because they've stuck it out for so long. They've got so much money invested. And I've talked about the, financial money to put the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure together. That doesn't even speak to all the relationships they have in the community that they've built by having their business there, relationships that they rely upon to make that business go. So when you take that business and move it, you lose all that money that you put in, plus you lose all of those relationships. Even if you move it just down the street, because people are like, oh, where did my store go? And people are really short-sighted. Oh, you moved? Well, okay. And they move on to something else. There is more than one ice cream shop in Portland, right? You know what I mean? And I'm just kind of using that as an example. The ice cream shop, it's their headquarters that's moving. And that's even more kind of alarming because then that means, okay, the guts and the essence of that business, they're saying Portland's a no-go. And a lot of these businesses are saying just that. Right now, in its current state, Portland is a no-go. Businesses have been held hostage for a long time, not being able to speak their own truth and lived experience, said Briglio. Like Salt and Straw, Stephen Smith Teamaker CEO Darren Marshall said he is considering moving his headquarters out of Portland Central Eastside after years of unmitigated crime. Nobody's arguing that these things are a reality. All you got to do is just drive there and go, oh, this is not good. This is not good. We would be silly not to look at other options beyond the neighborhood that we're in, said Marshall. It's just not safe. In fact, today there was an explosion. One of the camps caught on fire a block away from us. We deal daily with human feces on our shoes. We deal with break-ins. We deal with assaults. The whole human feces on your shoe is just so gross. It's a different smell than dog poop, isn't it? And it's just like, oh, that is just gnarly. No, not good. As part of the solution, Mayor Wheeler said the city is prepared to move forward with a 90-day reset plan. All right. I got to be honest. Just seems like smoke and mirrors. 90-day reset plan for the Central Eastside to help the neighborhood recover and rebound. You're going to need more than 90 days. You're going to need more than a reset. You're going to need more than a rebound. You need the whole enchilada going on here. Portland doesn't have the resources to do it. Just simply doesn't. So this is talk to make people feel better about, hey, but the mayor came by and they said they were doing stuff. They also said it was going to be a safer summer PDX. The plan's actions include increased police presence, focused attention on addressing homelessness, litter collection, and graffiti abatement. Okay. Till you drop the hammer on thousands of homeless criminals, not much is going to change. And graffiti abatement, that's good. I mean, we've got the broken window theory there, right? Talking about that with my dad. I was talking about that with my parents over Thanksgiving. Talked about Rudy Giuliani. And I said, hey, you guys, Oklahoma City is super clean. It's Republican. It's super well run. Their taxpayers' money actually goes to projects that you can see, that you can, these parks, and it's got some great stuff. Granted, it's in the middle of Oklahoma, but, that's just kind of an obvious given. So it's really hot in the summer, and then in the winter, it gets cold and got a wind that comes up. And then in spring, you've got that whole tornado thing. That's kind of frightening. But, you get used to it. In Florida, you've got the hurricanes that rip through. All right, so you got a little tornado. Here in Seattle, we've got the earthquakes. I mean, the whole city's just going to implode in a big earthquake someday, right? And you might say, well, good. All those freaks out there in Seattle, that's what they deserve. You know what? Sometimes I think you're right. I was talking with my dad. So getting back to my dad, I was talking to my parents about Rudy Giuliani, and my mom made the comment, boy, he has had a fall from grace, hasn't he? I'm like, yeah. But if you look at what he did in New York City, where he kind of just came in and clean clock, he got that city turned around pretty darn quick. And he did it based on, hey, you're going to get in there and you're going to go. You're going to clean up the graffiti. You're going to clean up the broken windows. And then you're going to keep hammering on that and hammering on that and hammering on that. And eventually you get the city under control. And he did. He did a remarkable job considering what he was working with. So is Mayor Ted going to go down that? Is he going to throw people in jail for criminal activity? It doesn't really seem like that's the direction that Portland is headed right now, right? I want you to understand that I understand that lives and livelihoods are being threatened, said Wheeler. The city implemented a similar 90-day reset plan in Old Town last March. Wheeler said he wants to make a visible difference for business owners and their employees. Something to talk about. Smoke and mirrors. Hey, look at that over there. Meanwhile, this over here is happening. Not just in terms of the data, but I want it to pass the C test, said Wheeler. If you don't see it, it doesn't matter. And so my expectation is that you will. To that, I say, time will tell. I want to be a believer. I want to believe that Portland can be turned around. I do not believe Portland can be turned around with current leadership. I don't believe the people of Portland are serious enough yet. I don't think they're there yet. I think, when you talk about somebody who's into addiction, talking about them bottoming out, this to me is part of the bottoming out process. When you have a whole bunch of legitimate businesses book it out of your town, that's when you start to bottom out, because then your tax revenue, that also leaves with them. It's gone, not there. So then you're going to have to scramble. Right. And you're going to have your constituents say, hey, we had to leave. These businesses left because you're running the city so poorly that this is what you get. So I think what we're seeing right now from Portland is just that overall process of this is what happens when you run a city into the ground and you've got a bunch of different, things that work side by side, unfortunately, negatively towards businesses and towards the citizens. and towards just the geography of Portland in general. You watch video after video. I watched some videos, with my parents because they've spent a lot of time in Portland over the years as well. My dad went to Willamette University, which is in Salem, Willamette area, south of Portland. And my dad grew up in Longview, Washington, which is just a mile up the road from Portland. So there's a lot of connections. So I showed my parents some of the videos of some of the homelessness because they haven't been up this direction and they haven't seen kind of a lot of what I talk about. And so it's hard for them to kind of imagine some of the things that are going on. The homelessness in general is, you watch it on TV, and I showed them some of the stuff on Kensington Avenue. And, it's pretty mind blowing to just imagine this stuff going on in general. But then when you also imagine that is an area that you used to go to and that you used to frequent, maybe you took your kids there, you did shopping. I get messages from people all the time. Hey, I used to take my kids into downtown Seattle and we did the Christmas tree and we did shopping. Yeah, we stopped doing that in 2018. That's literally a message I read today in one of the YouTube videos. I'm like, that makes sense. Yeah, I can understand why you did that. And you know what? I don't blame you. Wait till it gets safe. There's other places to go. And so business owners are saying, hey, yeah, we're about out of here. And I think you're on the verge right now. You're on the verge of seeing Portland lose a ton of businesses because they just, number one, they financially can't make it. Number two, they are emotionally at that point where they are done. That is my belief. I have nothing to, prove that other than the stories that I'm reading and the levels at which I'm reading these stories kind of come out. A lot of business owners are saying, done, uncle, get me out of here. We're leaving. We're either shutting the business down or we're going to go do this elsewhere. So Malik said that she'll be watching in response to Mayor Ted saying, if you don't see it, it doesn't matter. And so my expectation is that you will. Malik said that she'll be watching. I want to see something in place by the end of the year, she said. Well, you can have these emphasis patrols, all right? You can have those all day long. But until you get a handle on the actual crime itself, until the people doing the crime, the drugs that they're doing the crimes for, till you get a handle on some of all this, Safer Summer PDX, 90-day reset plan, I'm reasonable. I'm also not, pie in the sky. Oh, this is going to work. I think this is it, guys. I think this is it. I think we're going to do it on this one. I don't think anything happens, but the mayor at least can point to, yeah, I said something. Smoke and mirrors. That's what we're working with. All right. So, the beautiful thing is you'll be able to check back in with me here and I'll tell you, yep, it worked, or nope, it didn't. And then we'll talk about it again. All right. Thanks so much for being here. We'll catch up soon on the next one. Bye for now.